This is Alan Weaver. I'm doing a demo on Photoshop Elements 9 on here, and I'm showing where we're going to put this picture in a frame over here. This will work with any version of Elements. It also works with Photoshop, so if you have that program in here. We could just drag this picture into here. We have these two things here. We'll have two layers, but I'm showing you a few extra features. And what I want to do, I need to cut a matte out in here. First thing I'm going to do here is duplicate this layer. And I'm going to hide this back layer by clicking on that little eye over there. I want to cut a shape out. You can do either ellipse or rectangles here. And let's say I want to do an elliptical here. I would choose that. And by doing this, if I want a perfect circle, I would hold down the Shift key. This gives me a perfect circle. I have my mouse in here, and so I could have a little image in the middle here. Let's say I want another shape. I could just click again and then click and drag on here. And if it's a little off, that is okay. You just put your mouse inside here, move it around till you get it centered. I want to feather this, and by feathering, if I have a 0, it means it's going to give me a very hard edge. But I'm going to keep it at 25 on there so it'll soften it. I want to remove the contents. To remove the contents, I press the delete key. These gray boxes mean it's transparent. I am going to deselect at this point. We have marching ants here. Control D or select deselect. I want to put this picture in here. I click in here. I click on the move tool, that little dagger, and I just put my mouse inside here, drag it in here. As you can see, it's too small. To do that, I just put my mouse in the corner. I hold down the Shift key to keep the proportions on there, and actually it's not keeping the proportions. With 9 you don't need the Shift key. With some versions you do. So I've got that there. Now I want this behind this thing here, so I complete this, the checkbox or the enter key. I move the layer up over here, so we've got the image in here. I click over here, so you got that nice soft effect there. And you might be happy with this, but I want to show you a few other things you can do with this. Let's say I want to change the color of the daisies, make it into a piece of artwork or something like that. First thing I could do is go to Enhance, and I go to Adjust Color, Adjust Hue Saturation. It might be in another place here, but the Control U shortcut works for all of them. And what I do here, I click on the Colorize button, checkbox, and we work with Hue. It works. Hue is the color. I drag it slowly here. You can get all these different effects here. You can make it purple, you can make it a green or whatever. So let's say I like this green. On here, I could saturate it, make it iridescent. Depends on what you're trying to do. This really desaturates it here, so I could keep it a little bit on the negative. I can make it dark, I can make it light on here. So it's a matter of personal preference here. And let's say I like this thing here, and if I check it off, the OK, we have that there. Let's say we want to make it look like a drawing. It also works with a photo, and to do that we click on Filter, and we have a whole bunch of different things here. I could click on Artistic, and then I could click on any of these things here. We could change our choices while we're in here. It's showing poster edges, so it's showing what it looks like here with the preview. You got these little things here where you can change things around. Intensity, posterization here, go back and forth on there, and so it shows it here. If you want to see it larger, I can click on 100%. It will enlarge it, and so it shows the details. I put my mouse in here and move it around, and for the sake of expediency, I'm going to say I like this, say OK. I could go to other things here on here, and if I don't like it, I can always undo. But let's say I like it. If I undo, redo by clicking on those curly arrows, or Control Z, Control Y. Now let's say I want to work with the exposure of the photo. Make sure you're on the picture that you're adjusting, And what I want to do here, I could work with the enhance here, and I could work with lighting, levels, and this is a great feature here. I pull this in, that makes it way too dark. I can pull this over to here, make it a little bit lighter, and it has the preview there. And if you want to take it even further, you can work with just the reds, the greens, or the blues. And you can see here I'm giving this a slightly autumny type of look here. And so I say OK. So you can just say this is what we want this to look like. The things we can do in here with the enhance, you could convert to black and white if you want to. Gives you different previews, and it depends on what you want to do. I don't like that. I undo on there. So this is our quick tutorial on working with Photoshop Elements. Last thing in summary, we are working with layers here. I'm going to hit the eyeball for all of these. It means you can't see anything. This gray box here means it's transparent. If I click on this, this is the original photo. I click in here. This is on top of it. Think of these as curtains. This curtain is in front of there. I click on that top layer or top curtain, and I have that. And I could rename these by just double clicking inside there and call that matte. And then I could call that autumn image. And if I were to save this file, this is called Daisies. It will become, it says it's a JPEG right now. If I save this, it's going to become a PSD Photoshop document, which means it has 3 editable layers. So if I save it, it's going to be daisies.psd, and it keeps the layers in there. If I were to save this as a JPEG, I'll do this very quickly, and I'm going to go to Save As, and it says Daisies Edited. I'm going to make this a JPEG, and I'm going to save this. I'll say OK, and you can change the size here. I'm going to leave it at the highest here. I'm going to say OK. So it's saved here. I'm actually going to close out of this, I'm going to go to File, Open, and if I open this one up here, this is all one layer. If I go into the other one here, this has the 3 layers, so I can keep changing things here. And once you master the technique of layers, you can do a lot of things. Like I can go back into here, and I could adjust the color in here again. And then I could just go over here, make it lighter, make it darker if I want to. If I like that here, there's a difference, I just cancel. So you can work with that. Good luck with your Photoshop.